Hey crocheters! On the podcast today, we have Debbie from the Canadian Crocheter. She started her YouTube channel in early 2018 and uses it primarily as a way to connect with other crocheters and helps to teach through her channel that everyone struggles with things. People struggle with crocheting, people struggle with life, and that perfection is an unattainable goal. She has learned to revel in her own flaws and teaches that radical self-love through her example to all of those who follow her. Well, Debbie, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for inviting me. We'll see how this turns out.
Well, that's how it always goes. It's just kind of like, who knows, but I'm optimistic. I think it'll go well.
Okay, good.
So can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in crocheting? What brought you to it? Who taught you? What sparked the interest?
Well, who taught me was YouTube.
Perfect.
Moogly, and Bob Wilson 123. Those are the people that taught me how to crochet. How I got into it was, I've only been crocheting for about 4 years now. 4 years ago, I was looking for something so about 6 years ago, I retired.
Nice.
And so I had a job prior to that outside of the home. And then all of a sudden so when you work, you can try to keep things separate. So you have the stresses at work that you leave there, and you have stresses at home that you leave home. Well, all of a sudden now I don't have a job outside of the house. All the stresses were in one.
Oh, yeah.
I had no outlet, so it was all combined. So I was looking for something that would help with stress. And I got into gardening heavily, which I still do. I even got into growing my own plants from seed.
Nice.
Starting in February and March, so that it's ready to be planted outdoors. But there's a lot of free time in that. You're not doing anything with it. Once you've planted it, you just got to sit and wait for it to go. So I was looking for something to fill that gap, stress. And I remember my grandmother, when I was very, very little, teaching me how to knit. But I was very little, and I don't remember anything. So I thought, okay, I'll start knitting. Well, it didn't go very well. And so I found a woman on Facebook, and I just threw myself out there and said, hey, you don't know me, but if I pay you, can you teach me how to knit? She's like, no, I don't want you to pay me. We'll meet at the library. And so we sat down, and she said, show me what you know. And she's like, I don't even know what that is. I said, is that a knit? Is that garter? She's like, I have no idea what you're doing. Okay, so she taught me one or two things, like how to cast on and whatnot. And then she sent me home and she said, watch these YouTube channels.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere in that process, it came up, I think it was Bob Wilson 123. I'm going, what is this crochet business? I didn't even know about crochet.
Oh, really?
So on the channel, I'm like, whoa, this sounds much better for me. Because when you have needles, it's like 2 left feet.
I agree.
So I clicked on that and started watching crochet. And the next day I went out and bought myself a cheap hook and started that. And I loved it. And then I called that lady back, said, I don't need you right now. We're still friends. Don't get me wrong, we're friends. But, she actually crochets too now. But, and that's how it started. And I actually didn't see any vlogs until I broke my leg last February.
Oh, really?
I didn't know crochet vlogs. I had no idea. I just watched tutorials.
Mm-hmm.
And then I broke my leg. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So I'm just muddling. I find it very strange when people compliment me and say, you're doing so well. And really, because I find I'm still, if I look at Moogly, she's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself anywhere in that level at all. I'm still muddling, still learning, still make lots of mistakes. So, I find it odd when people compliment me. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And then if you've seen, like yesterday, I had to take my mom to the eye doctor, and there was a lady there, and you see the work that these older ladies do with thread and
Oh, yeah.
like holy. So like my goal is like I don't have goals. I don't make goals, but if I did have a goal, it would be to like get to that level where I'm really good at making beautiful things,
Mm-hmm.
not just hats and scarves. So right now I'm at the hat and scarf stage, but we'll get there,
Yeah.
as long as I live long enough. So,
Yeah, I was actually talking to my husband the other night about something similar, and he was like, you do really good work. And I was like, man, have you seen the things the Russians can do?
I know.
Like,
Have you
with the
seen that?
tiny, it's,
Not only that, but have you seen that artist who creates uh, uh, Andy Warhol type art with yarn, freehand?
yes, I follow her on Instagram. I'm just like, what? This
Well,
is intense.
I know it's insane, but I think that's a natural thing too. Like I've always been envious of artists.
Mm.
So what I do, and I guess that's why I gravitate towards crochet because I start with like this little box, a pattern, and then I can make my own.
Yeah.
But to actually come up with something out of thin air like these people do, I don't have that visual. Like I don't think that way. Same with music. I love musicians. My son is a budding musician, but I don't have an ear for it. I couldn't carry a tune if my life depended on it. I'm very in awe of artists. And you mentioned that you were a photographer, so you have a certain eye for that. Me, I just boom, click, 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 and then that's it. But as a photographer, you have an artistic eye for that. So I've always been envious of artistic people.
Yeah.
So this is my version of this is as artistic as I can get. Take something and change it.
Yeah, but I mean, that is still a creative outlet. And so I think it's still a really like healthy and it's exciting. And, like if you can get excited about creating something, then I think like I don't know, like that's the essence of creating is like being excited to say like, I'm going to take this, I'm going to change it, I'm going to make it my own. And,
Yeah,
it's going to be.
that excites me. That is absolutely. And so I can like dip my toe in the artistic pond, that's filled with all these artists. And I was like, hey, I'm here. I'm here. I'm trying.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, how did you break your leg? How did this whole thing start?
Honestly, I don't even know how. We have from the family room, we have a little mud room when I was going into the garage, and you go through the mud room, and there's only 2 steps. So I stepped down, and literally my leg just went.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty gross. Now, it didn't feel any pain. I guess your body kind of overcompensates. I didn't feel any pain, but the door behind me closed. And I didn't have my phone or anything with me, and I'm screaming because we're in the house, but they were doing their own thing, and it's the dogs that alerted them. The dogs heard me screaming, or for them, and they would run back to my son and then run back to the door, back and forth a few times until my son's going, what's going on? And that's when they came.
Oh my goodness.
Literally my foot was like this. Both bones, because you have 2 bones in your leg, both bones right in half. And
oh
then
my.
Ambulance. And by the time ambulance came in, what I later learned was I was in shock because I was just like shaking and shivering, and
Oh yeah.
I didn't feel pain. When the ambulance guy came, then the pain, like almost like, okay, now I can allow it to be painful because you're here to help me. And then it started hurting. They got me in an ambulance, and I was like, oh my God. And he said, don't worry, I'm going to give you morphine, and in about, 30 seconds, you're not going to feel anything. And sure enough, in 30 seconds, I felt nothing. I said,
Whew.
do what you must. And obviously, I had to have surgery, so I have a rod. I think it's 7 inches long in my leg, and
Wow.
screws on the other side. So the scar is pretty big. Yeah, it takes a long time to heal.
I'm sure.
So, yeah, so I was sitting on my butt for a long time. And that's when I found vlogs, because I'm not a big TV watcher. I occasionally will binge watch something. What was the last thing I binged watched was The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh.
That was the last thing I like documentaries. I'm a bit of a earth nerd.
Nice.
I like watching documentaries on animals or environment, things like that. Anyway, so I was bored out of my mind. I didn't know,
I believe it.
Crocheting, but I also can't do just one thing. I can't just crochet. I can't just watch a show. I have to do
You have to do both.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I was listening to books on audio. I was, listening to music. But I was looking for something else, and that's how I came across, I think my first vlog was Margaret Olander. And I'm like, what is this? She's talking she's like showing me what she's done, not the tutorial. And I was hooked, absolutely hooked. And, excuse the pun.
It's perfect.
And then, and so I only got introduced to vlogs last February, 1 year. And after a couple of weeks, now you have to understand, I've been on the couch 24/7. I got to watch a lot of vlogs in a very short period of time. And I guess after a few weeks, I said, well, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
And I threw my hat in there and said, let's see what happens. So that's it. That's all I know. I didn't think to copy anybody's format or, I just love all the vlogs. I wish I had more time now. I was sitting on my butt for a while, so I had lots of time. But now it's back to reality and don't have time. And I want to watch everybody. I want to see what everybody's making. And, time is just not there, So
I completely understand. I feel the same way. You see other people's videos come up and you're like, oh, if I had more time.
I know. But like you asked me, how long did I think about it? I didn't. The day I said I'm going to do this is the day that I posted the video.
That is awesome.
I don't think, because, if I think too much, I won't do it.
Yeah.
I took up skiing when I was 40. And
awesome.
My husband and kids, they all ski, and I was the picture taker at the bottom of the hill. I was like, this is boring. But if I thought about it, I would never have gotten on skis. And I don't do well with heights. So when I get to the top and I have to go down, I never look before I go.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah, you just start.
Just go. Because if I think about it, I won't do it. I will talk myself out of it or scare myself out of it. So I just do it. And same with crochet. That's what I do with patterns too. Like the tapestry crochet. As soon as I saw it, I said, okay, I'm going to try it. That's period, And yeah, you learn things as you go along and you muddle. But if you put too much thought into it, you won't do it. Well, at least I won't.
Yeah.
So,
I definitely suffer from the same thing.
Yeah.
I tend to overthink, but I have a moment where it's like, all right, if I think about this anymore, it's not going to happen. So we've just got to go.
Just do it. And you might surprise yourself. And that's how you learn too. You learn from mistakes, not going to do that again, that kind of mentality. And you just learn and you go. Like I said, I don't usually give myself goals, but this year I said to myself, I made a mental note to not buy as much yarn. Because when I first started, I went yarn crazy. And I had no idea that a lot of this yarn was, excuse the expression, crappy yarn. Not crappy, but not as nice as others.
Oh, certainly.
So I have a lot of this, Karen, 1 pound. Like I'm talking probably 30 big 1 pound skeins. I gotta use it up. It's been
Nice.
for 4 years. So that's one of the things I'm going to be trying to do is find ways to use it because, like you
Hmm.
said, jump in, you're going to learn. And I learned that make proper purchases. But I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to use it.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, very
that's all
nice.
I can say.
So, in your first video, when you started vlogging, you explained your name, Canadian Crocheter, which it took me researching you, for this interview to find, to find that first video and the explanation. So I was wondering, would you explain, kind of the inside joke behind that to
You'd
everyone?
be amazed how people correct me. They think that I don't know how to say crochet, which I find absolutely endearing. They're taking, honey, that's not how you say it. People are going to laugh at you. I'm like, no, I know. That's the whole point. And it was because I would sit and crochet. My husband would walk in or kids and they said it as a joke. What are you, crotcheting?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it stuck. That's what we call it in the house.
Uh-huh.
And now that I'm knitting, they do say knitting. Are you knitting? Like we laugh a lot in this house, because life is like that. If you don't laugh, you're going to be crying. So we laugh a lot.
I like that.
That's what they do. So it was their way of, um, I guess trying to make me laugh at the same time saying, I see what you're doing. I'm not
Yeah.
ignoring. See what you're doing. I'm acknowledging that you're here. You're doing this. I might not have any interest in doing it myself, but I see you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what my family does. And, they're the first ones to try on hats or, they might not wear them, but they're the first ones to try them on. And, they're very supportive. And that's how the name came about. They just, what are you, crocheting? And then, like I said, I don't put much thought into it because, if I thought about it, I shouldn't have named it that. But it's too late now. I should have done something cutesy. I don't know, but now it's stuck, and I'm not changing it now. And my girlfriend created a logo for me, so it is what it is, and that's all it is in my family. That's what they call it. And it's amazing because quite a lot of women have told me that quite a lot of their husbands use that term as well.
Yeah.
So, must be a guy thing. Yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. So far in your YouTube career, what's been one of your biggest insights from being a creator on YouTube?
That I'm not alone. Oh my
Mm.
goodness. I really don't have anybody else around here that does anything to do with my friends make fun of me. Oh my God, there she goes with the yarn, and
Aw.
not make fun of me, but it's a running joke that I'm obsessed with yarn, and I keep showing them the videos, going, look at their wall. Nothing compared to mine.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so I don't know anybody who's into yarn, who's into yarny crafts. So that's what I've learned is I'm not alone. There are so many, and the crocheting community on YouTube is so accepting.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
they really are. You find somebody new and going, let's go watch. Like, what is she or he making? Let's do this. And so, my husband always said 99.9% of the people on the planet are wonderful. This is just an example of that. I've not met I've had very little negative feedback from the community. So
Yeah.
that, drives the point home that people are good, and especially this community. So I'm not alone. And I love it. I love it. I love how people care. Like, an example would be if a vlogger goes off, if they become used to a certain regimen or a schedule,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden they don't post for a while, people are searching them out, going, "What's wrong?
That's
Are you
true.
okay?" I mean, come on, you don't even know these people in person, but you worry. And I think that's phenomenal. So yes, that I'm not alone and that the crocheting community is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Even though we get the name, what's the name? We get called the ugly sister of the yarny world. Not,
Really? I have never heard that before.
yeah, somebody else told me that, because you get a lot of, not a lot, but you get some looking down on their noses from knitters sometimes.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't experienced that. So when I've talked about it, people have said, yeah, that's because crochet is the ugly sister, like I'm okay with
That's
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
I've often wondered if there was a little bit of like skiing versus snowboarding, kind of like that same, I don't know, feel in like crochet versus knitting.
There is. It's subtle, but it's there. And you're right. It's funny that you bring up that because my family is half skiers, half snowboarders.
Really.
Snowboarders look at the skiers as old fuddy-duddies.
Mm-hmm.
And the skiers look at the snowboarders as just, punks.
Uh-huh.
But you're in the same family. Uh, so yes, it's funny that you bring up that because it's definitely subtle. Nobody would ever come straight out and say, I'm better than you, because you'd get flack for that.
Mm-hmm.
But your actions, definitely, definitely. I've been to knitting stores where it's predominantly knitters,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel, like even the owner wouldn't come to you and talk to you. It's
Oh,
like,
really?
just say I'm a knitter. Oh, what? What is that? But there are other stores. I think they're all coming around because they know that we have a voice and we're big in numbers. And I'm also a very the type of person that if you don't treat me well, I do not come back. So
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't do.
there's no point, especially
Yeah,
in this world where there's so much,
that's right.
There's no point in being somewhere where people belittle you. So,
Absolutely. And that's why a lot of these like I went to I'm gonna tell you a quick story.
mm-hmm.
My young daughter, she she didn't fit the mold of the typical body image that a lot of the stores that she likes wanted, their shoppers to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little bit of a degrading experience. And I
Oh,
grabbed all the stuff that we were going to buy. I took it to the front and I said, cash it out. And it came up to almost $400. And I said, I'm not buying any of it. Not one. Oh, well, what? Um, I just wanted you to see the sale that you lost because you made her feel inferior. My
yes.
daughter was mortified. Oh my God, I can't believe you did that, Mom, right? I said, no, but you need to drive a point home. I don't know if I made an impact or not, but, those kinds of stores, I don't frequent them. And I don't give them business. You do not belittle people.
Oh no.
Aim, so yeah, that was my little stance on on that. My daughter still won't forgive me for that because I think she was like 13 at the time. She was mortified. Mortified. How could you do this to me? Hey, how could they do that to you?
Exactly. Make a
Hey,
stand.
yeah,
Otherwise, you're teaching them how to treat you.
absolutely.
That's not okay.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
All right. So, do you have a favorite project that you've ever made?
It's funny. I was thinking about this, and I do not. I am more of a process crocheter.
Mm-hmm.
I love anything that's in my hands at the moment. Absolutely adore it. Once I'm done, okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't. Somebody commented saying that if you make a mistake, I rarely frog,
Mm-hmm.
rarely, because to me, I prefer the act of crochet versus the act of frogging.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna keep going, and whatever it turns out like, that's what it turns out like. I'll know for next time. So I don't think I have a favorite anything. Um, yeah, I guess the first year that I was crocheting, I was making mermaid tails for adults.
Uh-huh.
using Bernat blanket. And my daughter was in college at the time, or university, and all her friends were buying them off me. I'm like, I don't want to see another mermaid tail ever. So, for that time frame, I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
You get tired and move on. I think I must have, in the 4 years that I've been crocheting, probably 80 tails. 80.
Wow.
I was cranking them out like you would not believe.
That is
And
impressive.
that's all the time I decided that I don't want to make money off of this.
Mm.
Because I was making money off of those. But then the stress and the pressure, and it's got to be perfect. And oh, somebody else ordered some more. And I just couldn't. I was stressed. I was up all night. Couldn't keep up. And that's when I said, I'm not doing this for business. Not doing it. It's too much. It's too much work. And you actually don't get paid for your time.
Oh, no. You get paid for materials and shipping.
Absolutely. And that's it. So, yeah. So I guess at that time, that would have been my favorite because I could whip them out in no time. But I don't really have a favorite. Whatever. I just like crochet. I like learning new stitches. I like reconfiguring things. Mm-hmm. That's what I like. So once I'm done a project, it goes off. Yeah. I don't have a favorite. Sorry.
Oh, that's totally fine. Do you have, you said you like learning new stitches. Is there anything that you've been obsessed with lately? Like
tapestry.
Yeah.
The tapestry. It's funny because I've been watching videos and there's some things that are not addressed in these videos. And so I want to put out little videos to show, hey, even though I'm not going to teach you how to do it. This is what I found makes my life easier. Sorry, what was your question again?
Just, is there anything that you're obsessed with?
Tapestry right now. But again, I need breaks in between. I cannot do the same thing over. Again, going back to the mermaid tail thing, I learned a lot. You cannot keep, because you'll lose it,
Yeah.
So I have probably, hate to say, probably 15 finished or 15 whips at any given time.
Yeah.
And they're all different. And then there's ones like my scrap gans. They're just for a break. Yeah. So I'm just upset right now. I just want to get better at tapestry crochet because I think it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And working with fine yarn like this.
Yeah, that's so impressive.
I think it's done in the same way. It's just you need a lot of patience for the fine yarn. So between the tapestry and the fine yarn, that's what I'm been obsessing about right now. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, very nice. Let's see. So, diverging a little bit from crochet, in your 10 non-yarny things vlog, you showed us a pair of heels that were pretty impressive.
Yes.
And I want to know, what is the tallest pair of heels that you own?
6 inches.
Nice.
That is very, very tall. They don't get used very much. Well, actually, nothing got used in the last year because your feet kill after that. But there's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing that makes a leg look sexier than a pair of heels. In my mind. So, but I can't even get my foot, because right now, for the last year, my left foot is much bigger than my right. So, so I can't even get my foot in. It's not even a matter of learning how to walk in them again with the, weak leg. I can't even get it in. So,
oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned also, am I starting a collection of flats? Yes, I'd like to, but I want to spend my money on yarn more so than shoes. So my obsessions have just...
You flip-flopped a little bit?
Yeah. I love high heels. I think they look great. But I think I might have to actually, in a couple of years, we're going to be downsizing, so I might be getting rid of these shoes.
Yeah.
they don't mean that much to me anymore. I'll never get rid of the Barbie shoes. I think they're absolutely funky and adorable. But I might have to get rid of my my shoe collection. They're impractical now, and it's funny because when I broke my leg, a certain fear has been embedded in my head. I have a tendency to, because when I used to walk, my head was always up, looking around. Now more. Now my head is always down, looking for cracks, rocks, any sort of unevenness, because a certain fear has been embedded in my head that I don't want to fall again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think I'll be wearing high heels probably ever. I might do wedges maybe because you're still kind of flat, but yeah, I won't be doing. But that's okay. I have yarn.
Yeah.
I have yarn.
There's always solace in yarn.
Yes. Yes. So.
I used to be a big high heel wearer too, but then I met my husband, who is 2 inches shorter than me. And it wasn't his insecurity being like, you can't wear those. It was me being like, I don't want to be like significantly taller than you. So
That's okay.
Yeah, and I just haven't worn them in so long that now it's like, I like flats better. They're more comfortable, so.
I like, and that funny thing is, when I broke my leg, I was wearing cloth slippers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I wasn't even wearing any heels. But ultimately, I like barefoot. And that comes from being in the garden. I love the feel of dirt. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't walk around being dirty, but in the garden, getting dirty, getting dirt, I don't know, in between my toes and mud and frogs, and I love it.
Yeah.
So that's my ultimate. But if you're going to go out, nice high heels are nice, But I'll just have to figure out something else. Yeah. So
another thing you mentioned in your 10 non-yarny things was that you love Elvis.
Yes, I do.
So what?
Not to love. Come on. Right. Okay. I can't say he is good looking because he's gone, and he probably wouldn't be that good looking now. He's
fair
in his 80s. I don't know, but on screen he was gorgeous, extremely talented. If I was actually introduced to Elvis because I'm an immigrant. I came in 1975, so basically 2 years before he passed, and to learn the language, my mom had TV on all the time. That's how we learned. Well, that's how she learned. Soap operas and Elvis Presley movies.
That's awesome.
And so that was actually introduced to his movies prior to his music. Only when I was a teenager did I start listening to a wide variety of music, and that's how Elvis got into that, like the Beatles and Queen and Blondie and Elvis. And that's when I actually got to learning and listening to his voice. The range that man had is phenomenal. I know, and I think that he gets a bum rap for being so kitschy, but I love kitsch. Like, it's okay. But he the persona superseded him. Like, he was, and if people just remember, like, he was extremely talented, and he broke down barriers. Now, I don't know if he did it himself or he had a lot of help, which is fine, but he himself broke a lot of barriers, which I love. And he's talented, good looking, and he, I have a soft spot for, I don't know, what would be the word, he had a very sad life, and he was taken advantage of a lot. And I always have a soft spot for I don't know, would you call that an underdog? Like that. Not an underdog. He wasn't an underdog, but for the weaker, I guess. Yes, he was very rich and talented, but he was weak,
vulnerable still in many ways.
Yeah, I feel for people like that, and I feel like, I was the kid in school that if somebody was getting picked on, I was the voice for that kid. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, knock it off, stop it. So I've always had that in me, and I always felt like, if I was around Elvis, I would be speaking up for him. Mind you, he was much older, but I would be that person going, right. I actually went to one of my bucket list
Mm-hmm.
destinations was Graceland, and I went to Graceland, and I got
Oh,
so
really?
angry I was crying. And the reason I got angry was, so they have the property and they have his headstone there, or I don't think he's buried there, to be honest with you. I think, but anyway, he had the headstone there, and it was all
Oh.
plastic flowers. I was so angry. I'm thinking, you know, decades, half a century later, after he's died, he's making millions and millions and millions
And
of
it's,
dollars for
yeah.
people, and you can't afford fresh flowers or plants. They have to be plastic. It just really, so again, he's being taken advantage of in
Wow.
his
I
death.
never would have thought of that, but that's so true.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my Elvis story, and I love I have a very big collection. I made a pact with myself a long time ago to collect all of his movies and concerts, and
Wow.
I think I have everything. So, but they're all in a box. They don't come out very often. Nobody else wants to watch them with me. So, yeah, I'll have lots of time when the kids
Mm-hmm.
move out and whatever. I don't know. I have them. That's all that
Very
matters.
nice. If you were
Yeah.
to guess, being such a Elvis aficionado, would he be a knitter or a crocheter?
Oh, I don't know.
Yes.
Him?
Yes.
Or would he be a knitter or share? Whew.
Or would he be like
Um,
Tunisian crochet or something like
I
that? So
think
he was
prob-
like in between.
I think that he would
Yeah.
probably be in between. I think he had a very typical personality that I do,
Mm.
obsessiveness. You get onto something and you gotta keep doing until you
Mm-hmm.
feel satisfied, till it comes out of your system. And I think he was a lot like that too. So yeah, he probably would have done it all.
I think that's a fair
I
assumption.
don't know. That's a hard question. Both. I enjoy the process of both knitting and crochet. I think that crochet
Mm-hmm.
comes easier, so I do it more, but I thoroughly enjoy learning to knit as well. So I just have a lot to learn. So I don't know. That's a hard question. I don't know what he would want. I don't know. As long as there's a bacon sandwich, then who cares, right?
Exactly.
He would do it all.
So on a scale from 1 to having to frog an entire project, how angry are you when someone tries to clean your craft room?
I would first of all, I would never frog an
You've
entire
never been that
project.
angry.
Ever. Frog 1/3 of the project. I would just keep going. Um, I get very angry when people enter this space. Mind you, this is where the coffee station is too, so they
Uh-huh.
enter. But I'm always looking, like, your coffee, right? Um, if I'm in here, like my mom comes in here, she's a clean freak. My mom moved in with us last October, so she comes in here and tries to put things away. And if
Mm-hmm.
I'm with her, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because I know where she's putting things. But when she comes in here by herself, I lose it. I lose it.
Yes.
But I can't yell at her. She's my mother. So I go outside and I walk or something to get rid of this. Um, yeah, what are you going to do? Like, at the end of the day, it is just yarn. It is just yarn. So I'm not that obsessive about yarn. I'll just go and buy another one. If she loses a skein, I'll go buy another one.
That's awesome.
You know, so.
Have you ever felt you needed to hide how much yarn you bought from your husband?
I felt
Yeah.
the need, but I've never done it. I've never. He
That's
is my
awesome.
biggest supporter. He really is. he just, I don't think he cares.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just said, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you happy. And trust me, I have yarn throughout
Really?
the whole house. Front closet that we can't use because it's full of brunette blanket. And it's there because I stopped making the
Oh, yeah.
tails, but I still have all the yarn. So something to do with that. But no, my husband is the biggest supporter. And he even tried to, he's like, okay, can you teach me how to chain? He sucked at it. He was awful. But he wants to have something in common, So yeah, he's no, I don't find the need to hide anything from him. Yeah. That's a I don't know. And not to give advice, but that's a bad step in a relationship. You know,
Yes,
you should not be hiding
this is true.
anything, but no, I do not have the need to hide
I was just
anything.
curious because I've heard in just a couple different interactions with other crocheters, whether it's hard to tell if they're just saying it in jest or whether they're being serious. But they're like, "Oof, better hide this from my husband," you know.
Yeah, that might be best because if you're hiding things from your husband, there's bigger
Yes,
problems than
that
how
is
much
fair.
yarn you bought.
That is fair. So I wanted to give you a moment to tell us about the low-cal, crochet-along that you've been doing.
Well, again, this channel is about connecting with people, and I find it absolutely amazing. When I started, people would tell me where they're from, and I am all about patriotism. Even though I wasn't born here, I'm a true Canadian, and I love my country, and I love it when people are proud of where they're from. And to digress just a little bit, you know why when you watch news and there's like a riot or something and people are rioting, and I always say to myself, that's where they live.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that to their own home? And so I always find it amazing that majority of people are not like that. Majority of people are very proud of where they live. They want to show it off. They, like Gypsy Rose did the koala, like that's very,
Yeah.
Australian, and that's what I wanted. I wanted people to feel proud of where they're from, whether it be their city, their state, country, province, wherever. Like, just get out there and show, hey, this is where I'm from. And I loved it. And that's all. And then the low-cal, actually my husband came up with that name, right? Wait to see our next cal, what we're gonna call it. Yeah, we're coming up with names, and Karen and we're just throwing out names right now. But low-cal, that's how it came about. I just wanted people to be proud of where they're from.
Sorry, my husband just got home.
I got interruptions here too. But yeah, so I just wanted people to show off where they're from and get their creative juices flowing, and just, and from the looking at the FO thread, there are some amazing representations. Like, I just like, what? Like, people are ingenious. I love it. So
That's awesome.
That's where it came from.
And so is this your first cal that you've done, or?
Yes, absolutely. I have no idea what I'm doing. To be honest with you, I'm such a non-social media person that I actually had to put a reminder in my phone to remind me to go to Ravelry and check the threads, because I wouldn't go. I'm awful. And the only one that I go to is YouTube, and that's to watch other vloggers. But Instagram, I rarely go on. Ravelry, unless I'm looking for patterns, I rarely go on. So my phone reminds me once a day, go on Ravelry, check your threads. I'm like, because I don't want people thinking that I don't care. I do. I'm just very, very scatterbrained. Very scatterbrained. So yeah, it's my first one, and I'm gonna jump in right away with the next one, and yeah, that's it. That's it's fun. It's so much fun. But I don't think
Yeah.
I would be able to do it without Karen. Karen, we've kind of developed a friendship, even though I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why. She's my daughter's age. Like, we shouldn't technically have anything in common, but she has become,
That's
I
really
lean on
cool.
her a lot, actually, and is absolutely fabulous. Absolutely. Her and Laurel. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
bounce everything off of those two. And they're, I mean, I'm sure they're probably thinking, oh my God, stop. Stop asking me for advice. But you know what? They would not say that to me because they're wonderful people.
And
So,
that's
yeah. And that's
that's
it.
really cool. And
Hello,
I think it's
Cal.
awesome that, through being on social media, through having a channel, you have been able to make like really good connections with, these other women. And
Yeah.
like you were saying earlier, that we go to different people for different things. Actually, that may have been when we were talking off camera. But that, maybe the friends you have that are around you, they don't necessarily, they're not going to be who you go to talk about yarn with, but
Yeah.
you got Karen and
Yeah.
Laurel for that. So
Absolutely. Like, I just, like, even they give me advice, and they listen to me, and it expands. It's not just with yarn and crochet. It expands. um so it's like the perfect friend. Except we don't know each other, right? We've never met personally, right? I have
yeah,
no idea
that's
how
true.
tall they are, or anything like but yeah, it's great that they're there for me, and I don't know, this whole community is
Oh yeah,
absolutely phenomenal.
yeah, they're
I
so supportive.
love it. So yeah, very much so, very much so. But that's all I got to say about
Well,
the
thank you so
cow.
much for being here with me today and for
Welcome. I hope I didn't talk your ear off. You get nervous and you start to
I
ramble
completely
on.
understand. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
um So is there any like parting words you'd like to leave with us? Anywhere you want us to go and follow you, contribute to the cow?
Um, yes, the cow. Absolutely, come on over to Ravelry. Um, I am on Instagram, Canadian Crocheter. Um, I am on Facebook as Debbie Tappin, Tappin. But I don't
Yeah.
frequent those very often. Um, but I guess the best way anybody can reach me is crochet2018 at rogers.com. If anybody, and people have reached out to me and, given me stories or advice through email, and I am so appreciative of it. And some people, like, there's a woman, Karen, and we've kind of been emailing,
Oh
and
yeah.
Billy, like, that's how Billy and she just sent me an and these are fabulous people. Like, I could listen to
Hmm.
Billy for hours and hours. Everybody's got a story, but Billy's stories are just
She is
that
pretty
much more
hilarious.
entertaining. Like, absolutely. So these and this was all done through email. People reach out to me, and I think it's great, and very supportive and kind, and yeah, that's all. That's all it is. I have no goals. I don't know where this channel is going. I just I just love people. And people don't have to feel alone like I did for a while, and I'm sure other people do. So, yeah, I encourage anybody who wants to start a
Yeah.
channel, go do it. But that's it. That's all. Just me.
Well, it has been a pleasure getting to know you
Yeah.
better. So,
Oh, you're a sweetheart. My goal, well, again, I keep saying I don't have goals, but then I have goals.
mhm.
No, my desire is to actually get one of your little stuffies there made. I'm so leaning towards the owl. I want it so
Oh
bad because I'm a
really?
bird fiend, but it looks so intimidating. So I don't know. One of these days I will make
I'm
it.
I'm positive you can. Honestly,
So
it's two circles. Yeah,
Look at
the feathers do
wings.
take a
Holy.
while. Like there's definitely a part of me that's like, man, why did I make that stitch? That took forever.
Well, you're very, for you to be able to take an image or something in your head and to actually create it from scratch without following a pattern. You're the one that's making the pattern. I find that like I don't know how you do it. I really it goes back to your photography. I mean, you're seeing things through a different lens than someone like me. You see things differently than I do. And I want some of that. But
Well, thank you very much.
you know,
Thank you.
very talented. Thank you for doing this. I'm actually, I don't know why, but
Well, I thought this was a lot of
thank you
fun.
very much.
So I appreciate you being on here, and we'll talk again soon, hopefully.
Absolutely. Thank you.